When you're dealing with dogs, when you're dealing with scumbags, they will do anything they can to try and break you, to try and derail you.
Speaking at the press conference, one of the things that was noted about the press conference was the Ricky Hatton, him trying to say a tribute.
It's pretty disgusting of Eddie Hearn to do what he did.
Charlotte Daly on Male Sport Boxing, joined by Chris Eubank Jr. How are you?
Very good. I'm having fun.
That's good. Well, first of all, we have to say, happy belated birthday. You spent your birthday with your dad for the first time in 6 years. How special was that?
It meant a lot. It shows the improvement and the building that we are doing as a family. It's never too late for all the people watching out there. If you have your differences, if you've fallen out with your family or your loved ones, it doesn't matter how bleak things may look. There's always a chance to reconcile and unite, and that's what we're doing.
And you united in probably one of the best ways we've ever seen with that first fight against Conor Benn. We're going into the second fight now. For you personally, not for the fans, but for you personally, can the second fight live up to expectations given the magnitude of reuniting with your dad and beating a Benn for that first fight?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to surpass the event, the spectacle that the first fight was. But I think that the fight itself can be even better. Everything that surrounded it, you can't replicate that again. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But the fight, once that bell goes, I think will be even better than the first one because we know each other now. So we know the weaknesses, we know the strengths. It could be a whole new fight. Or it could be a war from round one again. So you guys are going to have to wait and see.
With that first fight, you're normally very cool, calm and collected when you win a fight. There's not really much celebration from you. That first fight, you were on your knees, you were roaring. It was pure emotion. Can you talk me through that emotion and was it a release of all the hardships you'd been through to that point?
Yes, I think that was a release. I had gone through so much and the build-up of this fight, it wasn't just that, that 2-month period. It was 3 years. 3 years of thinking about this fight non-stop, talking about it, training for it. So yeah, that all culminated with me at the end of that fight, letting out some of that emotion. I couldn't help it. It felt good.
You've put yourself straight back into this situation again of fighting Conor Benn for a second time. Do you think it will be as emotionally taxing going into this second fight?
I don't know. Every fight is emotionally taxing. This fight is it's probably going to be bigger than the first fight because of how successful the first fight was. More people are going to be interested in it the second time around. But I know the environment that I'm going to be in. I know what it's going to take. So in terms of emotional taxation, I don't think it will be because I've kind of gone through it, I've been through it, and I also don't have my old man so much against me. He was against me fighting in that first fight. He actually still doesn't want me to fight now. But he was extremely vocal and public about how much he didn't want me to fight and how disappointed he was that I was doing what I was doing. That won't be happening again in this fight, So it's going to be a lot easier for me to focus and stay on track and not kind of be affected by all of that.
In terms of the fight itself, in the first fight you threw more, you landed more. How much more dangerous do you think you'll be in the second fight without that rehydration clause?
Who said there wasn't a rehydration clause?
Ben Shalom's saying that there'll be no rehydration clause.
I mean, that's what we're pushing for. But I don't know. I don't actually know what's going to happen on that front. What I do know is that however ferocious and relentless I was in that first fight, regardless of rehydration clauses and weights and whatever else they're going to throw at me, I will be even more vicious in that ring November 15th.
You've brought Bomac back in for this second fight, and we saw him with you for the rematch against Liam Smith, and you got the stoppage there. Do you think that teaming up with him will bring the stoppage against Conor Benn?
I think teaming up with Bomac gives me a new sense of direction, a new strategy, a new game plan, and that's what we want. We can't go in there and do the same things because that fight went 12 rounds. We want to get this kid out of there. I'm 1-0 in rematches with Bomac, soon to be 2-0.
In terms of the fight itself, Conor says that he was guilty of fighting with too much emotion on the night. You obviously won the fight, but do you think that you were also guilty of maybe fighting with too much emotion as well?
Emotion is what it took for me to do what I did throughout that fight. Emotion is what it took for me to march forward and throw punches when I was dehydrated and weight drained and fatigued. It's a part of fighting. Sometimes you have to be emotional. Sometimes you have to use that spirit to enable you to do things that you maybe wouldn't usually be able to do.
You spoke as well about the kind of sabotage that went on before the fight. Why do you think that they needed or wanted to do that? Do you think it's because you're so hard to mentally break that they wanted to try and get that element? Is that what you believe?
When you're dealing with dogs, when you're dealing with scumbags, whatever you want to call these people, they will do anything they can to try and break you, to try and derail you. They will do it. They did it to me, and I still went in there and did what I needed to do to win. And I'm expecting them to do the same thing this time around. But this time, obviously, we are much more prepared. We saw what they were capable of. We've learned from that. And we will be avoiding all their traps and setups as much as possible.
I know you and Eddie have bad blood and you don't like him speaking at the press conference. One of the things that was noted about the press conference was the Ricky Hatton, him trying to say a tribute. What's your take on that whole situation?
Yeah, that was it's pretty disgusting of Eddie Hearn to do what he did. There had already been a tribute to the legend, the icon that was Ricky Hatton. That tribute happened at the beginning of the press conference. The press conference started. I'm in my stride. I'm saying the things I want to say. He knows that as soon as he talks, I'm going to shut it down. So he decided to, for some random reason, start trying to talk about Ricky Hatton in the middle of the press conference. He knew that I was going to interrupt him before he said anything, which I did. I didn't hear that he was saying he was trying to talk about Ricky. I was just immediately shutting him down, regardless of what he was saying. So that so he's using Ricky Hatton's passing to try and talk in a press conference. It's disgusting, but that's the type of people you're dealing with, true scumbags. Again, Ricky Hatton was a legend, inspired a generation. And I know how hard it is to lose a loved one. So again, my thoughts and prayers are with his family. There was no disrespect. There was no malice. I'm not that type of human being. It's just unfortunate that Eddie Hearn tried to do what he did to make me look bad.
Last one for you. What do you want the fans to think of after the rematch with Conor Benn? What do you want them to remember about Chris Eubank Jr. from the second fight?
Everything that I did in the first fight, that's going to be on display in the second. A man that doesn't give up, a man that doesn't quit, that doesn't stop, that doesn't take a backward step. You got to be true. You got to be hard. A lot of guys are not hard in this game. They put a pair of boxing gloves on, but they're not actually hard men. When the going gets tough, they're looking for ways out. When they get cut, when they're tired, when they're hurt, how can I give up here? How can I get out of this situation? All right, let me take a knee. Let me stay on my stool. Let me wave the towel. Get me out of here, coach. We've seen it so many times in the sport. I would never want to be remembered as that type of man. I will do my best to win the fight. That's all I want to be remembered as.